Hello, gorgeous. I hope everyone's doing well today and enjoying the challenge. I'd like to talk a little bit about triggers and whose energy is it really? So what I mean by that, I'll give you an example. Let's say your child asks you to buy them something and you find yourself getting snappy and agitated and you say to them, "We don't have money for that." And you're feeling triggered. And so maybe at the time you don't have money for it and your child asking is like triggering to you, it's upsetting for you. So I want you to just kind of think about that and play around with the idea, why is that triggering and upsetting for you? And are those like your energetics, or are they energetics coming from somewhere else? And this might sound kind of funny if it's the first time you're hearing it, but it's called epigenetics. And we carry, in our DNA, we carry beliefs and energy that comes from up to 7 generations before us. So if you think about it, where were your ancestors 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 generations ago? They may have been living in poverty, fear, war, slavery, all sorts of traumatic experiences. And those experiences are ingrained in their DNA and passed down from generation to generation and living in your DNA right now. So sometimes when you have a big reaction and you're wondering where that came from, it may be the energetics that you're carrying from previous generations. So just notice like when you're feeling really triggered by something, and that's where you want to tap into your feelings. You want to clear those emotions and energetics, and you might be the one who's like breaking the cycle and clearing out the energetics from generations and generations ago. And the fascinating thing is, when you clear this out, your DNA changes, which changes your kid's DNA. So your DNA, it's not stagnant. It doesn't stay exactly where it, like how it is. You have the ability to change it, which is fascinating. I'm going to tell you about a little study that you might find interesting. And I'll have to cite it in the notes where the study came from, but there was a soldier who experienced very traumatic events. And researchers showed him video clips of traumatic events from the war. And they tested the stress levels in his blood that was in his body. So while he was watching the videos, they tested blood from his body, and they tested blood that they had taken out of his body before showing him the videos and had like beside him in the room. So he watched the videos, he experienced the stress from watching the videos. Then they tested the blood that was in his body and also outside of his body. And what they found was those stress levels were the same, whether the blood was in his body or outside of his body. So they thought that was really fascinating. So what they did then is they moved the vial of blood to another room further away from him. Did the experiment again, noticed the same results. They repeated this until eventually that vial of blood was kilometers and kilometers away from the soldier. They showed him the stressful videos. They tested the blood in his body and away from his body, kilometers away. That vial of blood that was kilometers away from him showed the same amount of stress chemicals as the blood that was in his body while he was watching the videos. So this goes to show how powerful your thoughts, your feelings, your beliefs are, and how it impacts your DNA. So if you think about it, your children carry your DNA. So when you work on yourself and you work on your own energetics and your own emotions, you are impacting your child. So often parents will come to me and they'll want me to fix problems with their kids, right? Their kids have ADHD, they can't emotionally regulate, they can't self-regulate, they have poor impulse control, they're fighting with their siblings. And really and truly, if we start working on ourselves first, the ripple effect on our families is huge. So that's something I really do in my coaching program. I've got the Warrior Mama coaching program. And I also have the Love You membership where we dive into this a little bit more. Another thing I want to talk to you about is how do you deal with your emotions? I often talk about, we need to feel our emotions, and better out than in. When you suppress your emotions, you're just shoving them down, and they might show up in your body as a headache or a backache or pain or exhaustion, or some people will actually faint, dizziness. Like, when you stuff those emotions down, they show up in your body in all sorts of uncomfortable, undesirable ways. So we want them to come out and not in, for ourselves and for our kids. But we want to have good ways to express these emotions, right? So allowing all the emotions doesn't mean allowing all the behaviors. Those are different things. We have to have loving boundaries set around what behaviors are acceptable. So think about, how do you want to allow and feel your emotions? Like, if you're feeling sad, maybe you want to have a beautiful sad moment. Maybe you pour yourself like a beautiful warm bubble bath, and you light candles, and you use essential oils and Epsom salts, and you play music, and you feel your sadness. Maybe when you're angry, maybe you're the kind of person who wants to go for a run or scream into a pillow. Or if you've been in my world for a while, or Stephanie's world as well, or Sarah's world, tapping is a great way to release your emotions. So you say all the things that you're thinking and feeling while tapping on specific points, and that really helps to get the feelings out. Maybe you need to jump up and down. Maybe you wear boxing gloves and punch a boxing bag, like whatever it is. Come up with some ways for how you would like to handle or express your emotions in a healthy way. And then help your kids do the same thing. Kids have these great big feelings, and they need to have boundaries and know what are acceptable ways to express their feelings. So punching their brother, a mink. Cool. Punching their brother is not an acceptable way to express their anger. Kicking a hole in the wall is not an acceptable way. Whatever the rules are in your house, like maybe slamming doors is not acceptable. You need to decide what works for your family and come up with some ways that they can express their feelings. Maybe you have a calming corner in your house that has some sensory tools, like a beanbag chair, some fidgets, a weighted blanket, some calming music. Those sensory bottles where you can turn them upside down. They have glitter and water and oil. Like, that can be very calming. So maybe that's a place where kids can go when they need to self-regulate. Or maybe you have a trampoline that they jump on, or maybe you let them stand on your front porch and scream at the top of their lungs, or maybe they punch a pillow or the couch, or maybe they get to stomp their feet. Like, talk to your kids and see what feels good for them, for how is it best for them to let those emotions out of their body, because we want to be expressing our emotions and not leaving them trapped inside of our bodies. So I hope this was helpful for you, sending you lots of love. I hope you have some tidbits to work on. So think about how you would like to express your emotions in your family, for yourself and for your kids. Love you. See you tomorrow.